Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Zoe and in today's video there's something I want to share with you, how I annotate and tab my books. For example, I have here House of Sky and Bread because this is the most recent book that I annotated. This is how it looks. It's very tough, okay? My first books that I annotate very fully throughout the book was from Blood and Ash. I did this, and I Curtis Silver Flames. These were the two books that I annotated the first time, completely the whole book, like crazy. So this for the beginning. Why do I annotate my book? Why do I tab my book? Because it's fun for me. I read a lot, and after the last couple of years reading, I noticed that I missed something during reading time, especially when you read much. And I read most of the time fantasy, and sometimes when you start a new fantasy series, the whole world building is very much and you get easily overwhelmed by it. So I saw a couple of booktubers or TikTokers who annotate a book, and I wanted to do this too because I am like other girls. I just want to do the same shit like everyone does. So I started annotating my books, and you don't need to do this. Definitely, if you don't want to annotate your book or you don't write into it and don't want to tab this, then good for you. Enjoy your reading time, because annotating, tabbing and writing in your book and take notes on what you read is very time consuming. It takes a lot of time to really do this, and if you have really high expectation of how you want to do this, it can also be easily overwhelming. So I decided for myself that I want to use the same tabbing system for every book that I read, for every fiction book. So I have the same annotating style for every fiction book that I read. For non-fiction I have a different type. Not really a different type. For non-fictions I use one color that I like at the moment the most, and then annotate the book with it. And because in non-fiction it's mainly about the same topic throughout the book, so I don't really need more colors for it, and I only tab the things that I really like in non-fiction. So this video is mostly about how I annotate my fiction books. Let's start with how I annotate my book. I will link everything down in the description down below. I don't get money from the links when you click on it and buy maybe stuff from the link. I paid all the stuff by myself for my own money, like everything. I use my annotation system, like I said, for every book I use the same thing because I like routines, and I don't deal well with changing my routine and stuff like that. So I use the same things for everything, so I can go straight into the book and read it and annotate it the way I do. If you want to change sometimes stuff and have special annotation for maybe fantasy or romance or stuff like that, it's totally fine. The stuff that I say here now in the video is not I will not say it's the best way to annotate your book or the only way you can annotate your book. If you want to figure out your own annotation system, I am so happy for you. Please share it with me what you use. I'm so excited to see other people's annotation system. But let's get into it, how I annotate my books. So I used this one from Amazon. This has 7 colors, and I tell you what I use. So the first color on the top is pink. Pink is my favorite color, by the way, and purple. Purple and pink is my favorite color. And I use pink for everything that includes romance or relationships. So when you have a couple that get to know each other and there's stuff in it that is cute and you really know that these two are the couple of the book, I annotate the scenes with them in pink, especially when there's romance involved, like they're kissing each other or doing like more stuff with explicit content. Then I annotate it too. But what I start recently is to annotate also with pink, like important relationships between the main character and maybe the best friend of the story, if there's important scenes in it, or they are both doing some things to each other that are really important for their relationship with each other, which has nothing to do with romance. I use it for House of Earth and Blood. I also use this for Bryce and Danica's relationship in the beginning, because you get to know that the both of them are really good to each other in the beginning. And I also use this for best friends, obviously now for pink. But most of the time, like I would say 98% of the time, I use this for romance, relationships between the main character and the love interest, and I use pink for that. The next color on it is orange, and orange is a color that I use every time something's pissed me off. Like when something happens in the story that is unfair to the main character or unfair to other characters of the book, when something happens that goes against my values and ideas, how I understand what I want to have in my life, then, and it's pissed me off, then I use orange. And also if maybe something sexist happened in the book, like most of the time when something orange is here in House of Earth, Sky and Breath, is sexist scenes in it. And this is when I use orange. Then under it is yellow, and yellow is here for all the important stuff that happens in the book, like world building, when you get to know if there's different types of hierarchies in the book, who's the leader, how is the stories built up, how is the world built up, how works the magic system. This is when I use yellow. Green under it is stuff that has the plot, like shocking moments, plots, which has nothing to do with, it has nothing to do with scenes that piss me off. It's more like maybe one character dies in the book, in the scene, and then a fight starts. Like shocking moments when you're like, oh my god, what's happening here? And then I use the green tab in it. In fantasy, it's most of the time to the end of the book. That's the most thing that I use green tabs. Then blue under it is kind of self-explanatory, I would say, but not for all people. But blue is for me scenes that are sad, when I sad that something happened, like when in a book a character dies and the main character or a different character reacts maybe to the death of it and starts crying, maybe I start also crying, then I use sad. Also when a character experiences something really horrific and sad, I also put down a sad tab because I'm sorry for the character. Then under it is my dark violet. In the camera it's more like a dark blue, but for me it's a dark violet. Is here for foreshadowing. So especially the queen of foreshadowing, Sarah J. Maas. This is the most of the time I use like dark violet. Is for scenes that or sentences that I think that are becoming important later in the book. That's when I use the dark violet the tab, because most of the time it's not really an information, it's not really something shocking, it's more like a sentence where I think, this is weird, this is a weird sentence to say. I think this is something that becomes important later. I would say it's a 50-50 chance. Normally I would say the most of the time it's nothing. I interpret too much into the sentence, and then the other half is like it's really important for the next part or in a. And the last color is purple, and for purple I use the purple is there for funny stuff that happens in the book, especially things that I think are funny. So don't ask me what's behind the purple tabs, because my humor is, I would say, not the same as from other people. So don't ask what I think is funny because I don't want to talk about this. But this is the most of the time when I use these colors. So what I also use, so you can stop here and annotate your book and be happy with it or tab it. And now we came to the annotation part, because I have, what I really like to use is the friction pens. I have almost for every tab color I have also a friction pen color, and I don't have a yellow anymore. I use a text marker for it, but I have also orange. And the good thing about this is you can, first of all, they are really light, so they don't are really a strong color, except for this one. And you can, what I do is that I mark the text that I use the tab for. So when there's something happens in the romance, I use my pink marker and underline or mark the text that this tab is for. And so when I go back and look over what I annotate and tab, that I can see what specifically on these 2 pages was so important for me that I put a tab on it. My tip for this is, see, you can erase with pens, you can erase the things that you marked, but I noticed, so this is a tip for you. If you buy these and want to erase the text, so maybe you can sell the book again, I would say you need to underline the text a little bit underneath the text that you really want to annotate, because when you try to erase it, you erase the text with it. So when you want to mark your text, I would say underline it a little bit underneath, so when you want to erase it again, you can erase it without any problems. Because I notice after marking the text and erase it that you erase the text, the print, which is not good. But yeah, I really like these. I need to rebuy my colors that are empty, like these are empty. I can throw them away. I only have these 3 colors left, and then need to rebuy my yellow one. When I want to write something in the book, when there's one scene, I want to write something to it. Maybe a scene that is important, or yeah, I have something, some thoughts about the scenes. I use also a friction pen. It's a clicker one, and I use the color blue for it. First of all, because it stands out of the text. Like when I maybe annotate in between the lines or between sentences, you will see the blue color more than the black one. And the other thing is also when you want to erase it, because you maybe want to resell the book, you will not see any rest of the blue one. I noticed with the black one, when you erase it, that the black one has a little bit text behind, leave a little bit color behind. So this is kind of annoying. So I use the blue ones. So, and if you don't want to write in your book, which is something I can understand, I use notepads. Notepads. The color for my notepads is not really important. I use mainly pink and purple because it's my favorite color. I'm also happy with any other color, but at the moment I prefer these 2 colors. And if I have something in my mind what I want to write to the text, I write it down on a post-it note and put it in the pages, on the pages that I want to have the text over it. And so you don't really need to write into your book, especially when there's a big sentence in your mind that you write into it. You don't have to write around the text. You can write it down and put it in. And if you don't want to have this anymore in your book, you can easily peel this out and it's good to go. But what I noticed, I have these little ones that are off-brand, is some random things that I found in the supermarket and bought. But I also have the original post-it ones, and especially the big ones. The glue of it, it's really heavy. So I would say if you buy these ones, I would, or also with the other post-it notes, with the other, with the little block, I would say try to remove a little bit of the glue on the back of your hand maybe. Like to, when you do the same thing with your makeup, when you want to have a sharp line and you put the washi tape or the tape on the back of your hand and try to grease the glue so it's not really that sticky on your eye. Do the same thing, because I noticed after trying to remove like the big sticker, big post-it note, it ripped off the page. So this is kind of sad. And for this book that this happened to, it was not really important. But I would say if you try to resell it, make sure you remove a little bit of the glue on the back of your hand or on your skin, and then glue it, put it in your book, and you're good to go. I also saw a lot of on TikTok especially that there are a see-through post-it notes. So if you want to don't write in your book and you want to see the text under it, I would say check these out, because you can perfectly see the text through the see-through post-it notes, and it looks like you write into the book but you didn't. And I don't have these here, but I saw them a lot, okay? And I think they are good. I don't know, but I saw these. So I think, yeah, this was all. I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe you have found something in my tips and tricks what you can also use. If you don't want to annotate and tab your book, it's totally okay. Do whatever you want, but I hope I help someone with my tips, and I will try my best to link everything down in the description down below. Like I said, I don't get paid for this. If you buy something over the link, I don't get any money for this, stuff like that. Everything is fine. If you don't want to buy anything from Amazon, I also understand this, but I'm 400% sure you found stuff like that in every store that sells stuff like that. You are good to go. And then I hope you enjoyed the video, and then I will see you in my next video. Bye!